Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning to all of you. My name is Jayant Singh and I have the pleasure of being your MC today. On behalf of the Institute of South Asian Studies, National University of Singapore, I warmly welcome you to day one of ISAS's 10th International Conference. This year's conference theme is politics and economics of land in South Asia. To start off the two-day conference, I now invite Ambassador Gopinath Pillai, Chairman of the Institute of South Asian Studies and Ambassador at Large, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Republic of Singapore, to deliver his welcome remarks. Ambassador, please.
Good morning. Guest of honor, Mr. Heng Swee Keat, Minister of Finance, Singapore. Mr. Banda, Member of Lok Sabha from India. Mrs. Vijay Thakur Singh, High Commissioner of India. Mr. Robert Chua, Permanent Secretary, Foreign Affairs, Singapore. Members of the diplomatic missions. Mr. Subrata Mitra, Dr. Subrata Mitra, Director of ISAS. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished participants, welcome to this conference. This year's International Conference is particularly significant because it marks the 10th anniversary of ISAS. We have been holding this annual conference every year on different themes, reflecting the large diversity of our the platform of ISAS. I think the participation in each year has been quite significant, but this year is particularly high, and particularly many non-Indians are here, and I'm very happy to welcome them. This year's annual conference focuses on politics and economics of land of South Asia. Though, as an institute, ISAS aims to look closely at all countries of South Asia, the sheer size and varied complexity of India tends to get reflected in a greater share of the attention on this particular subject. Our close focus on contemporary India cannot overlook the significant challenges of public policy that has been created by land in India and as well as the other countries of South Asia. Nor can we possibly overlook the political and economic implications associated with land and its ISAS analysis of the use of land in India and the other countries of South Asia. The role of land in providing livelihood as well as is well recognized. From an Indian and South Asian perspective, the ability of land to generate higher economic output and more jobs has been constrained by the problems involved in the greater use by industry and commercial development. The vexing issue of acquiring private land for greater industrial and commercial use has manifested in the different ways in different parts of South Asia. Political backlash over land acquisition by the state has been accompanied by extensive debates over compensation, the use of the acquired land, and regulatory mechanism for ensuring a fair process of acquisition. Major overhauls of existing legislation have failed to provide satisfactory solutions to these problems. The government of South Asia continues to grapple with the challenge of finding a balanced and objective mechanism for making land available for economic development, and installation while adequately compensating the owners of the land. A good deal of interest has been aroused by the land pooling system that was introduced or that was achieved by Mr. Naidu in Andhra Pradesh as he is trying to build the new capital. The information that we have got seem to indicate that there is a certain reservations on some parts of sections of the population, but generally the land pooling system, if it works, becomes a solution to the land problem that all the other states of South Asia are facing. It is worth studying, it's worth watching, and we hope Mr. Naidu will be successful to pull it through. I would like to take this opportunity to point out that this year's conference has a specific segment devoted to a business roundtable on perspectives of land markets in India. This segment would address various issues connected to land that have been agitating businesses looking forward to investing in India. I understand that the senior practitioners and business leaders from India and Singapore are participating in this segment, which should be particularly notable slot for those looking forward to getting some fresh insights on business views on the state of land in India and South Asia. Like in the previous years, this year too, we have an excellent mix of distinguished academics and public policy practitioners presenting at the conference. I'm particularly happy to welcome those who have traveled long distances to be here and participate in this conference. It is also wonderful to note the excellent representation of academic scholars in this conference. The participation of their participation make the deliberations at the conference rich and meaningful. It gives me a great deal of pleasure to welcome Mr. Heng Swee Keat, who is no stranger to ISAS. He is one of the founders of ISAS. I would like to start by congratulating him for being appointed Minister of Finance in the new government which has just been formed after the recent election. Mr. Heng was Minister for Education in the last government. Before he joined government, he was Managing Director of the Monetary Authority, which is the counterpart of the Governor of the Central Bank. So he is no stranger to finance. He was also Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Trade and Industry. I know some friends who were his contemporaries in Harvard. They tell me that he was noted for his very deep analytical ability and his clarity of thought. We are very fortunate to have him this morning as the chief guest, as the guest of honor, and to give the opening address. We are also very fortunate to have Mr. B.J. Panda, a rising star in the politics of India, Indian state of Orissa. The capital of Orissa, Bhubaneswar, this actually has nothing to do with the land issue, but I need to tell you a little bit about Orissa because many Singaporeans may not know. Capital of Orissa, Bhubaneswar, is probably the closest point to Southeast Asia in India, number one. Number two, Orissa still celebrates what is called the Bali Yatra. That means journey to Bali. This is so because the Kalinga Empire, which was based around Orissa, their foray into Southeast Asia was was the beginning of South Asians' connections with Southeast Asia. In recent times, there has been another story. I'm not altogether sure how factual it is, but I think I should tell you this story. And that is the father of the present Chief Minister of Orissa, Mr. Patnaik, Father Biju Patnaik, was, I think, a fighter pilot. Yes, he was now an authority has confirmed it. So he was, and he transported Mr. Sukarno from a danger zone to a peaceful area and sort of saved him. They developed a friendship between them. And when Sukarno's first daughter was born, he asked Mr. Patnaik for suggestions for a name, a good Sanskrit name. And that evening, it was an overcast sky with clouds and threats of thunder and lightning. So Mr. Patnaik suggested Meghavati, meaning the daughter of the clouds. And that lady subsequently became the president of Indonesia, and today she is the head of the ruling party of Indonesia. So this connectivity between South Asia and Southeast Asia go a long way. And I narrate this story because ISAS, we want to be the interface between South Asia and Southeast Asia. We have already started to work with various think tanks in Southeast Asia, in Malaysia, in Indonesia, and we will do this as we go along. We will also want to be interfaced with East Asia, China, Japan, Korea, and also with North Asia. So we have strong ambitions to grow in various ways, and this story just tells you the basis on which we are moving. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, may I once again welcome you to this. I hope you have a very fruitful 2 days, and I hope you go back with the determination that you will come back again next year and be a participant in our conference. Thank you very much.